Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Nathan from MyCryptoParadise. This video will be dedicated to the TomoChain. The recovery phase is ongoing, but this might also be a long-term uptrend continuation. Today, let's have a look at multiple time frames for the TomoChain, such as this weekly chart. We will also look at the 3-day chart, observing the correctional phases, the daily chart where the uptrend seems to be ongoing, the 4-hour chart where we see the bounce of the uptrend trend line, so clearly a consistent growth. At the same time, we will look at the consolidation phase, which we see on the 1-hour chart with the bullish and bearish divergence in place. And finally, we will analyze the TomoChain against the Bitcoin on the daily time frame. If you're ready to dive into these detailed analysis, grab your favorite drink and we are starting. First off, I would like to bring your attention to this weekly chart where we have the formation of the 1, 2, 3, 4 and perhaps the 5th final wave to an upside. But this is obviously based on the Elliott wave theory, implying that there are total 5 waves of any trend. In our case, this is clearly an uptrend because price is producing higher lows and higher highs. So we have an uptrend and therefore the probability for the continuation and producing the 5th wave to the upside definitely worth considering. We can also observe that price is moving within the ascending channel on the logarithmic chart. Specifically, we had the bounce of $0.94, and this is where the price rejected the bottom of the ascending channel. Certainly, this seems to be a bottom for this corrective move down. And in our next chart, we will talk about these 2 correctional phases. So what needs to occur for the price to start moving down or continuing the downside correction, long-term downside correction? Obviously, we have to break and close below $0.94 on the weekly chart. For such scenario to occur, first, we need to break below the channel, then perhaps consolidation. And if there will be break below this support, then certainly we can dive down to $0.5 support area. And this is also an area of price where the most trading volume has occurred throughout the entire period of the TomoChain. But right now it certainly seems more bullish than bearish. So let's go to the 3-day chart where we have these ABC pullbacks in both occasions. We can see that first, it started back in August 2020, and we have very similar pattern to the current one. So right now we could have completed the wave 4, which is displayed right there on this chart. Now let's have a look at the similarities of these 2 pullbacks. First, we had this first wave and it went below the 50 simple moving average. Then another wave down, we clearly went below once again. In the current scenario, we had a bounce of the 50 moving average and then pullback. I have also applied a Fibonacci retracement indicator to this ABC pullback on this correction and also on the current correction. And what is interesting is that we have reached 88.6% Fibs, a very important retracement level which nearly corresponds to the top. On this chart, we have similar scenario, 88.6% Fibs as we had on the previous pullback, and this level should be considered as the first key resistance for the TomoChain against the dollar. Now, another 2 important factors on this chart is this clean bounce of a simple uptrend trend line. So we basically used this low and this low and we had a clean bounce. Don't forget that we also had a bounce of a simple ascending channel. And this brings us to conclusion that the current move to an upside can be over 47%, especially considering that we had a huge pullback equals to the 75% decline. Another important point here is the break and close above the 50 moving average, which might imply also the change in trend, basically saying that the corrective phase is over and we're ready to continue moving up. We also had a strong rejection of the previous resistance. We can see it acted as the resistance where 88.6 Fibs was rejected. Then this area acted as the support, and yet again we see a huge support area near $1.42. All in all, the probability remains in favor of the further growth towards $3.37. Now shifting to the daily chart, we have applied a Fibonacci cycle indicator to this ABC corrective move down, basically to this entire correction through this high and this low. We can see that cycle number 2 has resulted in the beginning of an upside move. Now cycle number 3, which is starting on the August 5th, which is in about 2.5 weeks, might end the expected upside growth. So this area corresponds to 2 resistance levels. We have the resistance uptrend trend line, and we also have 161.8 Fips. But obviously, in order for the price to increase that much, we need to break above 88.6 Fips and also above the previously established high at $3.67. Only then the TomoChain growth might be exceeding 135%. Just to remind you that the nearest resistance is 47% away from the current price. We must not ignore the fact that there was the bounce of the top of the channel. So there is some hesitation for the price to break to the upside, because price did not slide through but found the resistance area. On the other hand, we had the bounce of the previous resistance, then it acted as the resistance yet again, and it acted as the support after breaking above the downtrend trend line. Therefore, we should expect some consolidation before price breaks higher or breaks lower. So this high is very important to watch, but for more detailed information, we need to move to the next chart. Now we're looking at the 4-hour time frame, and we had today a very nice bounce of a simple uptrend trend line. Price remains above the 200 moving average, as we can see right there. And in fact, we had the bounce of the moving average, and then price produced a new higher high and higher low. This is a clear uptrend up until the point we have a break below this support area, because this support is very important. On this spike right there, we had a very nice rejection of the 88.6% Fips at $2.13. And as long as daily closing price remains above this support, we should expect a continuation of an uptrend towards the resistance mentioned previously, which is at $3.37. But on this chart, you can see there are 2 Fips at this level. First is 88.6, as we had previously on the weekly and daily chart. But we have also applied a Fips to this pullback where we had the bounce of the Fips. So we have 2 levels, 88.6 and 327.2, corresponding to $3.36 resistance area. Obviously, break below should push price lower towards the moving average near $1.8, corresponding to this supply demand area. But right now, price is still heavily bullish. Obviously, a lot will depend on the price action of the Bitcoin, which we are monitoring 24/7. And if you want to stay informed about what is happening in the cryptocurrency market in general and Bitcoin in particular, you can simply join our free channel. We have multiple channels. For that, just go to MyCryptoParadise.com and you will find all the information right there. Now moving on to the TomoChain against the dollar on the hourly chart. Straight away, we can spot that the range trading has started. Since July 9th, price has been consolidating between $2.13 support and $2.5 resistance. But we can still see that price remains above the 200 moving average. We had the break and close below the moving average. But at the same time, price has formed a bullish divergence and cleanly bounced off the 88.6% Fips applied to this last wave up. Just to speak a little bit more about the divergence. At first, we had this bearish divergence both on the MACD oscillator as well as the MACD histogram. So we had this double bearish divergence which worked out pretty well. Price did correct down, producing an ABC corrective pattern. But right now, we had the bullish divergence also on the MACD histogram and on the MACD itself, at the same time with the bounce of the Fibonacci support. Another important factor is the bounce of the 50 simple moving average first, then the pullback, and price went up, breaking above the previously established high. We also had a break above the simple downtrend trend line. Yet again, multiple factors are in favor of the further uptrend continuation at the current moment. And obviously the nearest resistance will be the top of the channel, which is $2.5. Only upon the break above this resistance we can expect further growth. Now finally, let's have a look at the TomoChain against the Bitcoin, where we see a break above the ascending channel. This is a strong bullish indication because this is a daily time frame. So while we had this break higher, we did not touch any of the resistance, Fibonacci resistance levels. So neither 61.8, 78.6 or 88.6 has been tested, and this is clearly provides some room for further growth. But there is another important factor except for this breakout. What we had is the strong support formed near 5,500 satoshis. We had multiple bounces, but then we have a slice through this area. So right now bulls are in complete control, especially we had the bounce of the moving average after price broke above the simple uptrend trend line. Currently 50% FIPS at 6,580 satoshis is acting as the support, and as long as daily closing price is above this support area, we should expect yet another wave to an upside with the nearest resistance at 7,670 satoshis. And perhaps if we break it, the room for growth will remain very strong. To summarize, TomoChain is looking very bullish, especially considering that we might be establishing the final fifth wave to an upside. But we must watch lower time frames for the break below the support, because this might send price lower yet again to initiate some consolidation phase. And that was all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to take it easy and smooth, and see you next time.